Not completely messing around, half-half. If you're young and your back is good, you sit on the floor. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We start off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending our peace and blessings upon our Master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with beneficial knowledge and wisdom and understanding. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our Ramadan and our fasting. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our Laylatul Qadr. We ask Allah to write us from those who haven't accepted Laylatul Qadr. We say goodbye to the greatest guest, Ramadan. We sadly, with hearts filled of grief, say goodbye to Ramadan, the greatest guest. The guest that comes every single year to grant us a connection with God. The guest that comes every single year to grant us emancipation from the fire. The guest that comes every single year to grant us a connection with the Quran and the Masjid. The guest that comes every single year to grant us tawbah and repentance and a return to Allah. So we sadly, with hearts filled of grief, say goodbye to Ramadan because now there's 2 nights left. Inshallah, tonight, like we mentioned, we have a full night program. You're all welcome to join us and stay with us. Inshallah, tonight we will not be praying witr. We'll be praying witr later at the end of the night. So we'll have salah throughout the night. We're going to read 2.5 ajza at night, and we're going to have talks throughout the night, inshallah, and khawatir, and inshallah dua, and tasbih and dhikr. Inshallah, we ask Allah to accept from us. And as it is a habit of every masjid, on the 27th night we have our fundraiser today. And we save it for the 27th night of Ramadan because of the many opinions that the 27th night of Ramadan is Laylatul Qadr. Many companions had this opinion. So it could most likely be tonight. And the atmosphere outside is very calm atmosphere. But like we said many times, it could be any of these nights. We ask Allah to accept from us and to make us of those who give always when we're told to give. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who has the ability to give always. And to not deprive us from that bounty. Because al-yad al-ulya خير من اليد السفلى. The hand that gives is better than the hand that takes. And for you all to understand, if you're coming to the masjid and benefiting from the masjid, making wudu in the masjid and sitting in the masjid and praying in the masjid and drinking water, you're either taking. So you should be someone who gives. And we can't emphasize this enough. And when you give in Islam, you don't lose anything. You're only increased. And I came out prepared, but there's so much. If someone wants to talk about sadaqah or infaq in the Quran, it's so much. It's so much. Allah trains the Muslim to understand that without a shadow of a doubt, if you give, you do not lose. You only get increased. And if you give, you're protected. Giving has nothing but virtue to it. Sadaqah has nothing but virtue to it. So we talk about sadaqah in giving. And the best form of sadaqah in giving, the best type of sadaqah in giving is sadaqah jariyah. It's sadaqah jariyah, an everlasting charity. So when you're dead in your grave and your body is decaying and becoming earth again, your reward is still increasing. So if you're able to give to something that's an increasing charity, this is a blessing from God. You thank Allah for having money so you could give to something like that, so you could save yourself when you can no longer accumulate good deeds. Sadaqah jariyah. The greatest sadaqah jariyah is giving to a masjid. Because you're helping aid the masjid. You're propagating the banner of Islam. You're raising the sha'ar ad-deen. And on top of that, the best type of masjid to give to is an active masjid where you see the fruits of your harvest. Yes or no? Yes or no? And I hate doing this because I work for ICPC. I hate doing this, but I'm just saying this sincerely. ICPC is the best masjid I've ever seen. It sounds exaggerative, but I'm telling you, I have not seen a masjid operate like ICPC. Does it have shortcomings? 100%. Is it perfect? No. Perfection is for God. Is it active? Does it do good? Does it have a good system? I think it's the best I've seen. I have not seen a masjid better operated than ICPC. Yes, shortcomings, yes, this, that, no perfection. Perfection is for God. So giving to a masjid is blessed because you're enabling the masjid to remain. You're enabling the masjid to continue. And those people who establish ICPC first, those people who put the bricks down and establish ICPC first, they get all the ajr for all of us. Now we're ICPC 3. We call ICPC Masjid Younis ICPC 3. And we have ICPC 2 in Clifton. The ones who established that and hide the idea of that and the fundraisers they did for that, they get all the reward for that. And it continues to grow. Then we're going to get ICPC Wayne 4. Then ICPC Saddle River. No, it's Bergen County. Passaic County, brother. ICPC. It continues to grow due to the blessings of sadaqah. The one who gave to the first ICPC, those who gave to the first ICPC, those who put their money down, they put their money where their mouth is. What's the saying? What's the saying, Ahmed? Money where your mouth is, right? Nice haircut. Naeeman, Habibi. You look good. He's ready for Eid. How are you, Ahmed? It's good to see you, man. Habibi. You got to put your money where your mouth is. I love this statement because this is Islamic, even though it was said by an American. You got to put your money where your mouth is. In Islam, we say sadaqatu burhan. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, sadaqah, giving charity, is a burhan. It's a proof of your iman. The Prophet describes sadaqah as a burhan. A burhan is a light. His was-salatu nurun, was-sadaqatu burhan, was-sabru diya. Wallahi, the Prophet, immaculate, comprehensive speech. He uses the best adjectives. He says salah is nur. Nur is a light. Then he says was-sadaqatu burhan. And sadaqah is burhan, another type of light. And then he says was-sabru diya. And diya is also a light. The word for light that he uses for sadaqah is the rays of the sun ray. Burhan is a light, yes, but specifically the sun ray. So the specific type of light, it's the sun ray. What's a sun ray? You come to Masjid Younis because it's an old church, they have the church windows, it's nice. So you come to Masjid Younis at Asr time. At Asr time. When the sun begins to go down, right? And then the sun is hitting in from this side of the window, so you come here and they turn the lights off so you can save the electric bill. So the sun comes and it lights up the masjid. That's a burhan. Why is this sun ray called a burhan? Because burhan means proof. The word burhan is a proof. Burhan is a miracle from God, because Allah, when He describes the miracles of the prophets in the Quran, He says ayah or burhan. Burhan is a proof of what? Their prophecy. The burhan of the prophet, the burhan of the prophets and messengers is a proof of what? Their prophecy. Burhan in Sharia is a dalil, hadith, Quran, Sunnah. Burhan is proof. But the original word is the sun ray, because it's a proof of the sun's existence. Right? If you see sunlight or the ray of the sun, it proves what exists? The sun. So the Prophet, he says that prayer is light. Hey, little boy, hey, come here, come sit in the front, Habibi, you. Hey, Adidas, come in the front. You always sit there, bro, come here. You could skip here too, you could, what's it called, you could roll. Come on. Always sit in the back. You're going to block the door like that. Smile. So the Prophet, he says that sadaqah is burhan because it's a proof, they say, from two ways. This sadaqah that we have, that we give, that we're all going to give tonight, inshallah, even if it's one date, because you could save yourself from the fire with one date. اتقوا النار ولو بشق تمرة. Protect yourself from Jahannam, even if it was from one date. You don't have to give extravagant amounts if you can't give extravagant amount. Anyway, so he says, how is it a proof? Sadaqah is a proof of iman by two ways. Because first of all, you put your money where your mouth is. You put your money where your mouth is when you give. Because no one will give if he doesn't believe. No one gives if he doesn't believe. You give because of your belief that you get ajr and thawab. You give for your belief of the virtues that it comes with. And also they say it's a proof because it's a proof of, it will be a proof for you on the Day of Judgment. Yani on Yawm al-Qiyamah, your sadaqah will avail you. The ayat of sadaqah in the Quran are plethora. All over 604 pages of the Quran, plethora. And Allah gives many examples of your money being spent in the way of Allah and how Allah increases it. We have something called a Roth IRA. You ever heard of a Roth IRA? Or a 401k, or an investment, or anything you do in this dunya. Investments in this dunya can work or they could go bad. If you're a business partner and you put money into a burger spot, it could go good or it could go bad. You could, mashallah, make it and then you make 4 burger spots and you continue to go. But there's not always a guaranteed return on investment. It's not a guarantee. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no doubt. It's a guaranteed return on investment. مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ أَنْبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلٍ فِي كُلِّ سُنْبُلَةٍ مِئَةُ حَبَّةٍ وَاللَّهُ يُضَاعِفُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah tells us in Surah Al-Baqarah, in the 3rd juz'ah of the Quran, at the ending of Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah comes with something interesting. He comes with 4 pages, back to back to back to back, speaking about the virtues of sadaqah and the parables of sadaqah and how sadaqah increases you. It's very interesting because the Quran, we speak about the Quran every day here. The Quran is a book that is concise. It's not an elongated book. It's to the point. Allah does not mention things too much if He doesn't have to mention them. He doesn't give us extreme details in stories. He gives us the points of the stories. It's a concise book. It's meant to be memorized. It's 604 pages, not like the Torah, which is 1,600 pages. So if Allah elongates something or He mentions something so much, He's really trying to drive a point into your head. 4 pages back to back to back, the virtues of sadaqah and infaq. Just example after example. The one who gives money in the way of Allah is like the one who has a seed, is like the one who has a garden and his garden is good. The one who doesn't give is like the one whose garden comes and it gets burnt down. Not giving equates to losing. Not giving, adam al-infaq equates to nifaq. Not giving equates to losing, not gaining. So Allah says in the first ayah of the 4, He says in the first of the 4 pages, the first ayah that He begins it all off with, He says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُم فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ. The example of those who give sadaqah in the way of Allah are like that of a seed, a habba. أَنْبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلٍ. In that seed, when you plant it, 7 ears grow out of it. So Allah's giving an example to the Arabs who used to farm so they can understand well. He goes, whatever you give is like a habba, is like one seed. And when you plant it, it's 7 ears. سبع سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة. And every ear of the 7 has 100. Has 100 little new seeds. So you give 1 and you get 700. And then He says, وَاللَّهُ يُضَاعِفُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. And then Allah, He decides to increase for whoever He wills. And then on top of that, Allah continues to increase for whoever He wills. And Allah's Wallahu wasi'un alim, and Allah is vast and all-knowing. Allah's mercy in giving is vast and it's all-knowing. قُلْ إِنَّ رَبِّي يَبَسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَقْدِرُ لَهُ وَمَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَهُوَ يُخْلِفُهُ وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الرَّازِقِينَ. Allah, He says, say, indeed, my Lord, يَبَسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَقْدِرُ. Say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He extends His rizq for whoever He wills and He withholds. So we learn from this that in Allah's hands lies your rizq. Say that Allah extends His rizq or He withholds it from those from His slaves. وَمَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَهُوَ يُخْلِفُهُ وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الرَّازِقِينَ. And whatever it is that you give in the way of Allah, Allah will replace it. We're going to start in 5 minutes. We're going to wait for more people to come. We're going to start in 5 minutes, okay? We're going to be here all night. And وَمَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَهُوَ يُخْلِفُهُ وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الرَّازِقِينَ. مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا فَيُضَاعِفُهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا وَاللَّهُ يَقْبِضُ وَيَبْسُطُ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Whomsoever, we talked about investments. We said the investment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a non-losing investment. It's an always win. You say, how do you know, Shaykh? I say, look at this ayah. Whomsoever يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا, gives Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an investment. Whosoever invests with Allah. How do you invest with Allah? By giving. How do you invest with God? By giving. فَيُضَاعِفُهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا. So Allah will then take His investment and He'll make it multiplied many more. He'll multiply it by many more. He doesn't say فَيُضَاعِفُ لَهُ عَشْرَ مَرَاتٍ. No, أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا. He lets it continuously multiply. وَاللَّهُ يَقْبِضُ وَيَبْسُطُ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Then Allah reminds you after this where your risk comes from. Because sometimes you get paycheck, you say paycheck comes from ADP. No, ADP, they just take care of salary. It comes from your job, right? Your job doesn't give you risk, brother. Human beings don't give you risk, brother. Companies don't give you risk, brother. Risk is Allah. Risk is not only money, risk is health. Risk is not only health and money, it's iman. Risk is protection. Allah is the one who gives and extends and withholds. Every single day, ما من يوم يصبح العباد فيه إلا ملكان ينزلان فيقول أحدهما اللهم أعط منفقا خلفا. Every single morning the birds begin to chirp because they're making tasbih of Allah in the morning. And some people, they sleep upon Salat al-Fajr, they don't even give up to make tasbih. But the bird gets up every morning to make tasbih. He prays Fajr every day, the bird. There's not a single day except the sun rises and the day begins and the 2 angels come down. And the first angel says, Allahumma a'ti munfakan khalafa. The first angel says, Ya Allah. The angel makes dua. His job, God created him, is to make dua for the munfiq. The angel's job is to make dua for the one who gives. Oh Allah, give the one who gives more. Khalaf, give him khalaf. Oh Allah, give the one who gives more. Replace what he gives. وَيَقُولُ الْآخَرُ اللَّهُمَّ أَعْتِ مُمْسِكًا تَلَفًا. The other one comes down just to make one dua. His job, creation by God, is for him to wake up every day and make this dua. Oh Allah, give the one who didn't give talaf. Give him destruction to his money. So if you think when you don't give, you save. No, this is not Islamic. Maybe this is in another culture. Maybe this is in another deen. We don't want to say other, we want to call other religions out. It's not appropriate, but maybe that's in another religion. That's not in Islam. In Islam, if you believe that you give $5 or $10 sadaqah in Jum'ah, if you believe that you're giving $5 or $10 sadaqah in Jum'ah and your money decreased by $10, you did not understand the Quran, brother. You did not understand the Quran. You did not understand Islam at all. Giving only increases. مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدُ وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بَاقٍ. Whatever you have, it ends and it perishes and it goes away and it finishes. And whatever is with Allah, it remains and it lasts forever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, انفق يا ابن آدم أنفق عليك. Allah, He says, give, O son of Adam, and I will give back to you. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضله والله واسع عليم. We'll end with this ayah and then we'll get up and pray Salat al-Isha. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء. Shaitan, Iblis, اللعين, يعدكم الفقر. He promises you poverty. This ayah is phenomenal. Because when you don't give, when you have the want to give, and then you get a whisper not to give, this is shaitanic whispers. Every time you have a thought to give and you don't want to give, whatever you intended on giving, give double. And that's how you extinguish the fire of shaitan. We speak from experience. If you ever want to give $20 to the masjid and you go to the sadaqah box, you open it, then you have you say, oh, why 20? That's a lot. I have a 10 here, 10 is better. No, brother. You give 30 now. Give 40 now. You have to fight off the wasawas of shaitan. You never lose by giving. Then when you drive home, forget what you did and move on. Oh, I gave 20. I could have got sesame chicken for 20. Oh man, 20. I could have got astaghfirullah, protects other stuff for 20. What other? No. So, الشيطان يعدكم الفقر. Shaitan promises you poverty. ويأمركم بالفحشاء. And he also, next to poverty, next to promising you poverty, he commands you with indecency. Yani, this cheapness in your heart is attached to something else. All the illnesses, they come and they tie in together. Wallahu ya'idukum maghfiratan minhu wa fadla. On the other side, the flip side, Allah promises you something else. Shaitan promises you something here, and God promises you something here. We want to be with Allah. Allah promises you maghfirah and fadl, mercy, forgiveness, minhu wa fadla, in a vast bounty. Wallahu wasi'un alim. And Allah is all giving, and His giving is vast, and He's all knowledgeable. This ayah, الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء, it comes in the middle of the ayahs of sadaqah. In the middle of the 4 pages we're talking about Surah Al-Baqarah comes this beautiful ayah. Satan promises you poverty, and he also commands you with indecency, and Allah promises you with mercy. And fadl. Allah promises you with forgiveness. Yani, when you give, you're forgiven. Sadaqah tudfi ghadab al-Rabb. Sadaqah extinguishes the anger of Allah. Dawu mardakum bisadaqah. Allah, the Prophet, he said, cure the illnesses in your family with sadaqah. So inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us acceptance and to make us of those who give. Inshallah, we stand up for Salat al-Isha. Hey.